Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter. I wanted to do a video just showing how I play Prowler. A lot of you guys have been asking me to show some example hunts. I don't want to do a full hunt, and there's so many different ways to play Prowler that I want to show you a little bit of each cat. So I'm going to start with Protect, my favorite cat, and show you off the two sort of what I call the balanced Prowlers. These are cats that use both boomerang and melee, and you want to use them with the balanced type weapons because you're going to be mixing in both of them. Protect Prowler, I think, is the strongest in the game because of its stats, its ability to guard anything without losing life, its ability to do boomerangs and melee all at a very good pace, and have pretty good gauge buildup as well. For this one, obviously, I don't use earplugs because I have the adept guard on the cat, and I use and abuse it with the boomerang combo quite a bit, which I'll show you off a little bit here. So you get stuff like Nargacuga. I know I keep picking on this monster, it's so bad. But if you hit X after you do the guard, you'll do the spin, or if you press A, you'll do the boomerang combo. At the beginning of the hunt, I like to sort of just use adept guard and just sort of, get a feeling of the water, and sort of get into the groove of the monster. And then once I'm starting to feel it, then I'll start getting more aggressive. Now, while you do have the adept guard, you also have taunt. You can have this on your trigger, and at any time you can do it. It automatically blocks whatever's going to hit you. You take no damage at all, and it's taunt, so it also throws everybody into SP mode for 45 full seconds for only 2 gauges. So it's a get out of jail card, puts the pressure on you, which is fantastic, and it puts you in SP mode, which will increase your gauge output as well. So very good skill. Make sure to use it. It's good even if you're not online and you're not trying to draw attention from people. So yeah, when I have the opportunity, even though it's just a double boomerang and not a triple one like the boomerang focused cats, I do like to use the boomerangs quite a bit because they do a lot of damage. And then whenever I get that opportunity, I either go for a mount or I just spam that boomerang combo. I like this cat because it doesn't always feels like you're doing the same thing over and over again, which was kind of the problem with Prowler I had with Generations, even though it was like my favorite weapon. You were just sort of spamming boomerangs left and right. There was no adept guards or evades or anything interesting to really do, but they really changed that in Generations Ultimate, and the gauges that the cats have build up so much faster in this game. It means that you can have a lot more fun with it. So if there's skills that you like to use, go ahead and put them on. There's like that really cute one where you run on top of a iron ball and then you kick it in the monster's face and KO it. Lots of really great stuff. So definitely make sure that you have fun and don't let someone to tell you exactly how to play Prowler. I think there's lots of different ways. When I throw boomerangs, I do try to hold left on the analog stick on the second boomerang so that it has a similar trajectory as the first one. I definitely find that makes it a little bit easier to use. If you're using a blunt weapon like I am here now, you will definitely get 1 KO during the hunt, which is really nice. Allows you and all your teammates to punish the monster quite a bit, and really build up a lot more gauge as well. Like, look at this, I'm just casually playing, and I have, 6 bars of gauge with my boomerangs active, which is something that would never happen in the previous game. Just getting ultra aggressive with the cat here. That lunge attack after the boomerang does do mounting damage, so try to go for a mount at least once in the hunt. Okay, let's move on to the next type of balanced type cat, which is the bombing cat. I do think the second strongest in the game is the Collect Prowler because it's the strongest boomerang, which I'll show after this one. But the bombing cat is really nice because it has the adept evade out of the box. There's no conditions for using it. It will throw a little bit of blast damage and bombs at the monster, and allows you to really mix in both boomerangs and safe evading with melee as well. So as you'll see here, it's similar in vein to the Protect Prowler, but it's a little bit different in the type of moves that you'll be doing, and you do have access to bombs in case a monster is weak, it's gone asleep, or anything like that. This is another cat that you won't be using earplugs for because you are able to evade through all of the roars here. After you do an evade, you'll do this roll, and you can choose the direction in which you roll. You can press X to end the roll really fast and go straight into a melee hit, which I'll show off quite a bit, I think, in my video here. I do love the adept evade, though. It's safe, you don't take any damage. Do this against like a Glavenus, and you'll be A-okay every time it slams its tail. You're not going to be afraid of anything, and every time you do this stuff, your gauges goes up anyway. So this is another cat where I don't think you'll have any problem maintaining your boomerangs and even having a bunch of extra points on top of it to play around with. Go ahead and smack the kitty cat here. Oh, it's fun. It takes a little getting used to, but I think once you get used to the trajectory of the roll, you'll find that you can be a lot more aggressive. The cool thing is that you can do an evade, sort of cancel outside a lot of your attacks. So take advantage of that delay after each attack like there, and then use that window for evading as necessary. Yeah, so as you can tell, this is a pretty busy cat. It can do a lot of stuff and it runs around quite a bit, but lots of gauge to play with, both for healing and for bombs or anything like that. Nothing, of course, beats evading through a tail slam like this. If you have a lot of gauge and you're not online, so you don't care about distracting people, there is the Giga Barrel Bombay, which is absolutely massive, and really great if a monster runs away because it's almost dead, or for just, you know, like throwing, because you can put it on and do an evade and your cat will just sort of throw the bomb up in the air, and you can make some for them really funny anti-fly zone dunks and stuff like that. Let me show you here what that looks like. That thing's huge. Yeah, so you just evade and your cat will drop it, so you can use and abuse this if you want. Okay, next is the 3 boomerang cats. The first one is the Collect Prowler. This is probably the best boomerang cat in the game, and I'll explain why. Definitely neat for Feline Hurler. It will increase your boomerangs by 10% attack power. Also, don't forget that the Armor Talon and Charm as well as the Power Talon and Charm do affect the cat, so keep those in your inventory even though you're not using items. This cat plays just like you did in Monster Hunter Generation, so it's going to be spamming boomerangs left and right. It does get the triple boomerang, so second boomerang weaker than it used to be, third boomerang really powerful, so definitely make sure you take advantage of the third boomerang, otherwise you may as well be using a Protect Cat at that point. For this cat, you definitely want to use earplugs because you want to be able to pull off that third boomerang as much as you can. It's definitely easier to hit with it the closer you are, but this cat does feature far worse defense than something like the assist or the heal boomerang cats. So you do have to be a little bit careful, but for those who know what they're doing or they know the monster, you're going to squeeze the most power out of the boomerangs with this cat because it gets really fast buildup of the gauges by using boomerangs, and also just for being in battle, the natural buildup is pretty fast. So the more gauges you have, the more you can ensure that you always have your boomerangs active, that you have gauge in stock, you know, in case you need to heal or do anything like that. So overall, it's just a really strong cat. So here we go, you can see the triple boomerang. I'll show with the heal cat, but the triple boomerang actually has some melee attacks at the very top of it if you do it right next to a monster. But I tend to use Collect a little bit more at a distance. I can use a Soothing Roll if I need to get out of there really fast and heal a little bit. But I don't like the fact that it has lower defense, so I do play it a little bit more safer than I do the other cats. Yeah, the Soothing Roll is great. It didn't used to do like a heal to your cat. It used to just move you out of the way and make it so that your natural recovery went up or something like that. So it's definitely a lot more usable than it was in the past games. It's kind of the meta for this game. The Mega Boomerang has been made much more powerful. It does take a lot of getting used to, and it has to be thrown at a distance, but it kind of hovers in the air and does multiple hits. So if you can manage to learn the timing of Mega Boomerang, it is a fantastic way to use the additional gauges that you're going to have, because like when you see this, I'm doing the triple combo up close. The gauge buildup is just absolutely bonkers for this type of cat. Yeah, just triple, triple, triple. Make sure you use those elemental boomerangs. The elemental damage adds up really, really fast. Yeah, if you don't like doing boomerang spam, then this cat probably won't be for you. Okay, here is the Mega Boomerang. It's pretty far distance that you throw it, and if you watch, it hovers. It does multiple hits, and those are pretty powerful as well. So let me just do a few more so you can see what it looks like. Poor little Narga over there is all exhausted. Get a trip as well. The idea is not to be doing like 2 or 3 of these in a row, but this is just for illustrative purposes. So yeah, pretty strong skill. Now moving on to my personal favorite boomerang cat is the Heal Cat. This thing acts just like a Collect Cat, except it's got much more defense. It builds gauge just as fast as the Collect Prowler, if not even a little bit faster. And this cat can do the heal horns. It can do 2 toots instead of 1. So this cat is fantastic online and even solo, because cats have a hard time healing. This cat always has enough gauge to fully heal itself if it's at like 25% health. So really good cat. I use it with counter boost because if I accidentally get hit, because I like to play this cat quite aggressively actually, It allows me to get gauge every time I'm accidentally hit, which allows me to hit those horns and I can recover more than I got hit for, which is fantastic. So for this cat, I like to use her as close up as I can so I can get all those hits from that triple boomerang. Again, because she's got higher defense than the Collect Prowler, I think it's a little bit safer to do that. Here you can see those melee attacks there. It's so great. She just destroys stuff. You do get super armor on that lunge, so if after you throw a boomerang, if you press X and you do that jumping attack, not only does it does mounting, but it gives you super armor. So it's really good for just getting in there and just being super aggressive and not having to worry about getting knocked back. Man, she's just relentless. But the gauge buildup on this cat is just sickening. It's probably the best, I think, in the game, especially if you have counter boost. Yeah, so watch my health gauge here. I'm getting hit so I can show you guys the healing. Watch how it goes up when I get hit. Yeah, like every hit gives you half a bar or more. Here's the health horn. It's a respectable, it's almost like a mega potion, and then it does an additional sort of herb type of heal, like a regular potion. So if you can evade out of the first one, or if you don't, she'll just sit there and do that extra toot. It doesn't cost you anything, which is nice. Yeah, here you can see I'm just going ham on the monster because she's so good close distance, which is not what you would think when you hear the term heal cat. You'd think of a cat that is just, you know, non-aggressive and is just good for healing, but no, they made this cat crazy good. Once you get a hang of that triple boomerang, it does a lot of damage. So here's the true health horn. Watch how much I heal. Look at my health on top. So this is awesome because it only takes 3 gauges. It heals an absolute ton of life for you and your teammates, and it throws you guys all in SP mode for a good period of time. And SP mode will then increase even further the gauge buildup for this cat. So watch my gauge. It's just going to go and race to the left here. It just goes up so fast when you're in SP mode with this cat. I'll take a moment why I do this mount here to tell you guys that she's also really good as a palico. If you put on the Horn Virtuoso and the counter boost, it actually encourages the cat to use horns more often. So if you just put it and you're a hunter, she will take good care of you in a standard hunt. So if you share this cat or if you get it, make sure to also put her as a palico. I think you'll find good use for her. Let's go ahead and down this monster. I mean, I think I've gained almost a full gauge just mounting the monster, just because of the natural buildup. It's that good. The third type of boomerang prowler is the assist cat, and I'm not even going to show it because there's really nothing to show. It basically behaves just like the collect or the heal cat in that it has the triple boomerang, except for its gauge does not go up as fast as either of the two cats, but on the flip side it does have decent defense, especially a lot more than the collect prowler, and it has the ability to capture monsters pretty good. So still a very viable cat, but if you're just looking at raw ability, I think the other cats beat it out. Next up is Beast. Now we're going into the melee type cats. So Beast is very different. You're not going to use boomerangs at all. You want to use a melee focused weapon. And the whole idea is to get into Beast mode, which I'm just going to sort of eat an acorn and cheat in here. And you get a whole bunch of new different attacks. And there's a combo in here, and I'll do a tutorial one day on this cat. It's kind of like the longsword, that there's a lot of different combo paths, but if you nail the final hit, you'll level up the Beast gauge up to level 3. And your cat gets more powerful as you do this. This cat, the big thing I think is getting up to Beast level 3 and then just going crazy on the monster. At level 1 Beast mode, you get the ability to have like less knockback, small like wind pressure and stuff like that. Pretty much just things to keep your cat from being knocked over. At level 2 you get a plus 15% affinity boost, and at level 3 you get SP mode. Beyond that, there is a roar attack you can do to give your bonuses to every other player in the area if you want to, but honestly you don't have to really worry about that too much. The cool thing about this cat is when you're in Beast mode, all your attacks get Mind's Eye, which means that you're never going to bounce off of a monster. So if you're going up against something that's huge like Gravios or Narcarcos or anything in which you can pull off all these hits, it's actually a pretty strong cat to use. Another thing that happens when you're in Beast mode is when you press R, you do this backflip, and you can do up to 3 in a row. I pair this with the Evasion +1 Artful Evasion skill for the cat. But basically allows you to be completely invincible and really just keep on a very aggressive melee onslaught. So definitely mastering, I think, this backflip is going to be really important into being able to do a lot of damage. In general, you don't want to use the finisher after you're in level 3 because it sends your cat flying in all sorts of different directions. Once you get into level 3, you can use the hold down the A button for that claw attack. You can press X, A, and there's a nice combo there. they just generally go crazy with those attacks over here. Here's what happens if you are in level 3 and you do the finisher. I'll show you how bad your cat goes flying everywhere. Really good if you're up against a big monster like Shagaru Magara or something like that, but yeah, your cat goes flying. So, you know, whiffing on all the hits is not going to do you any favors. So, if you're playing up against a really small monster like Narga, maybe it's better to just use skills like Claw Dance or Feline Comet or stuff that relies, again, on your melee abilities as a cat. And then finally we have the Fighter Cat, which was like really the cool cat back in Generations, but now with all the other cats being able to use boomerangs with all these different bonuses, the Fighter Cat has really lost its appeal as a boomerang cat. So I think the only way to really utilize this cat effectively is through pure melee. So I group it in with Beast Cat as a melee focused cat. When it gets upset, it does get the aerial vault, which is kind of like aerial style for a cat. So when you jump off of a monster, you do that spin up in the air. You're not invincible during any of it though, so I often find, because I'm not that good at this cat, that I get hit out of it quite a bit. But again, if you're going up against a big monster, it's a good cat, I think, for spamming that. And I'm sure someone will find some better things for this cat. It does have really good gauge buildup if you just focus on melee attacks, so maybe pairing this together with like the evasion +1 and maybe the soothing roll to keep it safe. Maybe it can be a pretty good cat, but definitely on the lower tier if we're going to be ranking them, at least in my personal opinion. And finally, the last cat, which I'm not going to show, is the Charisma Cat. Really, it's got Identity Crisis. It has the ability to have more different skills equipped, but honestly, that really doesn't change much for the core gameplay. And after it does its Cheer Horn, it gets an aerial vault as well, but it's just a jump attack. It's not like the spin attack or anything special like that, so there's really nothing to talk about when it comes to Charisma Cats. I definitely think that it sits at the very bottom of the food chain with in terms of strength for all these cats. Anyways, I hope this video just shows you guys off a little bit better how I personally like to use these cats. Maybe gives you some ideas to mess around with. I know the cats in the demo are absolutely horrific and the build setups are bad, but give cats a chance. If you get any of these cats, try out some of these strategies, or hopefully find your own. Anyways, hope you guys liked this video. Hit that like button if you did, subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, happy prowling.